Do you know where your food is from? Do you know what your food is? Kingdoms and civilizations have risen and fallen because of agriculture and food. It defines, food and agriculture defines economy, your health, and your day-to-day living, whether you know it or not. So it's extremely prevalent today, as it always has been, that agriculture is such a major part of our civilization. And even more so today with new technologies advancing in biochemistry and gene therapy, we now have GMOs, which change the whole playing field. So GMOs has brought up a big problem because some people say it's good, some people say it's bad, and we don't have enough informed citizens talking about it to know whether it's good or bad. And more than that, like, people don't even ask the questions that I've asked you in the beginning. So we really need, so that's the first problem. But the other problem is that people like Monsanto, who are the people making the genetically modified organisms or GMO seeds, and the farmers who are tilling the dirt and farming these seeds and employing those GMO farming practices are the only ones really talking about this issue, and they're the producers, and the consumers aren't really talking about it. So we have to get in there and sort of make a verdict on whether it's good or bad and start arguing so we can start discovering information and learning from that, and also getting other people on board with this discussion. There are a lot of dynamic pros and cons for and against GMO farming practices. For example, population growth is one major argument. So GMOs allow us to grow food faster and easier. So we can feed a lot more people with GMO seeds than we can with normal seeds. So, but then people on the pro side, who are people on the con side, will say that, well, there's food displacement. So when we have, there's some places in the world where they have the resources and technology to farm. Other places in the world they don't. So it's also who's getting the food. That's a factor in this whole thing with numbers and population and required food. Another big argument is also, is it natural or not? So there's natural and unnatural. We're saying there are people who are saying that it's unnatural to make to do this modifying seed, when with science we know that plants are always crossbreeding in the wild. And what GMO is doing is humans are basically cultivating what happens in the wild and controlling the genes that they want so that they get the desired results in the new genetically modified organisms. So that's one. Also, Monsanto patented genes. So there's also a whole thing about, is patenting genes ethical or not? So, like I said, this is extremely important. I mean, it affects so many things in our life. Agriculture makes or breaks civilizations, affects our economy, our health, and people are not talking about this enough. And especially in a democracy, we need to talk about this. We need to get it out there. And it's sort of underrated, under the radar. There's a lot of other stuff big in the media that's going on, but really this is something that really should be out there, not under the radar, over the radar, that needs to be out there, and discussing it and having arguments about it will accomplish that. It's very intellectual in that it has a lot to do with science, and it's very exciting because once new scientific information is put out there, then the whole game field changes, and people go from left to right and back to right again. So people are always changing, and then that's why we need this. to be a top